Welcome to Common Reflection. Here we explore the structures that shape human behavior, the invisible systems, tensions, and patterns that guide our shared world, not to judge, but to understand. People always seem to be doing something, watching movies, going to parties, drinking in bars, following sports, scrolling endlessly through content. Entire industries exist to keep human attention occupied. At any given moment, somewhere in the world, millions of people are watching something, attending something, reacting to something, or preparing for the next event in an endless chain of activity. From the outside, this looks like progress. Culture evolving, entertainment expanding, society moving forward. But something strange is happening beneath the surface. Despite constant activity, many people feel restless, disconnected, sometimes even strangely empty, and the question is rarely asked. Why? Most of the ways we organize our time were invented a long time ago. Public entertainment, large gatherings, spectacles, competitions, celebrations. These structures appeared in societies living under very different conditions, different technologies, different daily pressures, different ways of communicating. Thousands of years ago, people gathered around fires to tell stories. Later, they gathered in arenas to watch spectacles. Eventually, theaters, stadiums, and cinemas replaced those earlier forms. Today, the arena often exists inside a screen that fits in a pocket. The form changes, the tools change, but the underlying structure remains surprisingly similar. Humans gather attention around events, distractions, performances, and stories. There is nothing inherently wrong with any of this. Movies are not the problem. Sports are not the problem. Music, art, celebration. These can be beautiful expressions of human creativity. But something about the system surrounding them has grown strangely automatic. It constantly produces new content, new trends, new things to watch, new things to react to. Yet it rarely produces new ways to think about the structure itself. The system keeps moving, but the direction of that motion is rarely questioned. Culture often behaves less like a conscious creation and more like a machine that continues running because it has always been running. New generations enter the machine and inherit its patterns. They participate in the same cycles of work, distraction, excitement, and exhaustion. Occasionally, new technologies appear and accelerate the machine even further. Information spreads faster, entertainment becomes more immersive, the number of things competing for attention multiplies. Yet the fundamental question almost never appears in the public conversation. Why do we organize human life this way? Not in a moral sense, not as criticism, but simply as observation. Why do billions of people follow systems that were designed for worlds that no longer exist? In ancient societies, entertainment served clear purposes. It created social bonds in small communities. It released tension in harsh living conditions. It reinforced shared myths that helped groups survive. But today, humanity lives inside a planetary technological network. Information travels instantly across continents. Machines produce food, transport, and communication at scales unimaginable to earlier civilizations. Yet our mental environment still revolves around the same patterns of distraction and stimulation. It is as if civilization upgraded its tools but never paused long enough to reconsider its operating system. Most people are not consciously choosing these patterns. They simply grow into them. A child observes how adults spend their time. School prepares them for participation in the same system. Media reinforces it. Social expectations stabilize it. By adulthood, the structure feels completely natural, but natural and inevitable are not the same thing. Human history shows that entire systems can persist for centuries simply because no one steps outside them to examine the assumptions that keep them alive. And this brings us to the quiet idea behind this project. What if the most important step toward changing the future is not inventing new technologies, new policies, or new ideologies? What if the first step is learning to observe the structure of human behavior itself, to step slightly outside the machine and look at it from a distance, to ask questions that are rarely asked, not because they are forbidden, but because they seem invisible? This series is not about blaming anyone. It is not about rejecting culture or abandoning the things people enjoy. Instead, it is about reflection, about trying to understand the patterns that shape billions of lives, often without most people ever noticing them. Sometimes, the systems that guide civilization are not controlled by any single person or institution. They simply continue moving because no one stops to question their direction. And perhaps the future of humanity depends less on how fast our technology advances, and more on whether we are willing to examine the invisible structures guiding our collective behavior. This is Common Reflection. Shared thoughts, shared responsibility. See you in the next reflection.